In this video, I'm going to hit the age-old question of, do you require your buyers to sign an agency agreement with you? Hi, I'm Mikesh, and welcome to my channel where I share proven strategies and tools that I use to grow and scale my real estate business and become a top producer. So before I get into the answer of, do you or do you not require them to sign a buyer agency agreement with you, I want to open up with a disclaimer. And that disclaimer is this: if you are a brand new real estate agent, and by brand new, I mean you've done less than 5 real estate deals in your career so far, I want to encourage you to just get out there and do the reps. Don't worry about best practices when it comes to buying buyer agency agreements or not buyer agency agreements. Obviously, if you're a part of a team and the team requires you to do it one way or another, follow the advice of your team leader. But I'm talking to you right now if you're brand new. There will be best practices and things that I will say in these videos that you should do. But if you're brand new, what's most important is that you get reps, that you get comfortable with how to show a property, how to write a contract. So if you're brand new, don't worry about it. Just get out there and do the reps and get the people into the homes. But if you're beyond that stage and you've been operating for the last couple of years, or maybe even for a long time, and you're wondering, is it better to ask and require that they sign buyer agency or not? This video is for you. All right, so the first point that I want to make when it comes to answering this question is the point of differentiation. What you're going to find is that most agents will not require that their clients sign buyer agency. And I really see this as a point of differentiation. I required it when I started to grow and scale my real estate business. So after I got out of that initial fear stage and I started to have some deals rolling in and started to get consistent, I decided that it was going to be a requirement that if they wanted to work with me, they had to sign buyer agency. And it became a point of differentiation for me. Because think about it this way: if you're going to require them to sign buyer agency, it probably means that you have a presentation of some sort in order to give them, in order to get them to sign buyer agency. And I think there is where lies the differentiation piece, because you're getting your clients to sit down and follow a process that's going to enhance and lead to their success. Now, I understand that they may not want to do this, but what I would always say to people is something like this. I'd say, hey, I know this is probably maybe a little bit different than another agent you worked with, or maybe even the last time that you bought a house, but let me ask you a question. Have you purchased a home in the last, say, 12 to 24 months? And 99 times out of 100, they're going to say no. And my response to that no is going to be, well, things have changed drastically. I mean, even in the last few months, like interest rates have changed a lot, and it's really affected how buyers are getting into these houses and ultimately getting contracts on the houses they want. So what I'd recommend is that we take 20 minutes, we sit down together, and I'll walk you through the process right now from A to Z so that you're more aware of and familiar with what are the steps that we're going to have to take in order to get you that property that you want and be successful in doing so. Typically, when I responded that way, they would say, okay, when and where are we going to meet? Now, I'd make it really convenient for them. So office is certainly a good option, but many times real estate offices aren't in the most ideal location based on where your clients are looking at homes. So I would agree to meet them at their house, at their place of work, or at a coffee shop that's in the area that they want to look at houses. This makes it easier. It reduces the amount of friction. But by taking them through a detailed presentation from steps A to Z, what I found is that even with people who had bought many homes over their lifetime, they found security and they found safety and they found confidence in knowing what the process was going to be up front and ways that I could add value and help them. And then a natural conclusion at the end of that presentation was, hey, yeah, let's do business together. The second point that I want to make is really a continuation of the first point on differentiation, and that is education. So I find that when you walk them through the process and the presentation, you're giving them good education, but you're also sharing with them that your main goal is not to sell them a house, but to sell them the right house. I earned more business for the people that I told not to buy certain properties because it gave them a sense of confidence that, hey, I wasn't just there to sell them, I was actually there to help them. And I find that the best way to help people is to educate them. So getting them out there, showing them the properties in a logical order, really investing the time with them. And if they're not willing to sign an agency agreement, it's going to be very difficult for somebody to want to invest the time that I think is necessary at serving your client at the highest level if there's not that give and take. Imagine that you were going to an attorney for a legal matter, and you were like, hey, I need you to do all this work for me, and at the end, I may or may not choose to use you. You're probably going to get some really shoddy work. And I think a lot of times that's what happens unconsciously in real estate, is that people come into our world, we don't really know if they're exclusive to us or not. So we put forth a good effort because we want to get a client, we want to serve them, we want to win their business. But there's a limit to how much we're willing to go and put into for them if we don't have an agreement where we know we're going to get paid at the end of the day. So the education piece is my second point of differentiation that I think really makes a difference between a terrific real estate experience and an amazing agent relationship. Is like, oh, my agent is the best because X, Y, and Z. Well, they're the best because they invested the time to educate you on the process to where you felt confident. A happy client is a confident client. If people are not confident, they're not going to move forward with a contract. So your ability to get them confident is going to be directly related to the education that you can provide for them. That's why teachers often make great realtors. And the third point I want to make about this is when you're sitting down with a client and you're about to lay out your value proposition and talk to them about all the ways you're going to be able to help them and educate them, you're getting to know your client as much as your client is going to have an opportunity to make a decision to work with you exclusively. And I think these things go hand in hand. The end of the day, we don't really want to work with everybody. When I look back on my real estate career and I think about what were the clients, what were the situations that I still remember today that were the most taxing, that were the most time consuming, that really sucked the energy and life out of me as a realtor, chances are there are people that I wouldn't want to work with again. And as my career progressed over the years, I was able to spot those types of people based on key clues and signs that they would have about them to say, hey, maybe this is not really the person that I'm going to serve or want to serve. If you never have the opportunity to sit down with them and really go through a discussion about what you can offer and if they're willing to commit to you, then it's going to be very difficult for you to spot those types of clues or warning signs from people ahead of time. And I love to do that during the plan. Now, what I want to do next is move on to some of the objections you're going to get, because you will get objections. And sometimes those objections are as simple as, hey, I didn't have to do this before. One key thing that will serve you very well in real estate is to understand that sometimes the objection isn't really an objection, it's just a question. So instead of getting all defensive about, well, they didn't have to do this before, just ask them, well, based on what we talked about today, would you have any reason not to want to work exclusively with me? So ask them another question to that objection. But if they say, hey, we didn't really have to do this before, and we're not sure if we're comfortable doing this, we want to talk about it, we want to think about it, and maybe you have some showing scheduled for right after this meeting, what you can offer them is a free test drive. You can say, well, great, why don't we do this? I understand it's a big decision, and I want you guys to be comfortable with the decision. So, now that I've explained how it is that I work with you and what we can do and what I require back, I'll give you a free test drive today, and at the end of today, I'm going to ask you to make a decision if you feel like I would be the person best suited to serve you in your home buying needs. And sometimes it's a two-step approach like that, and that's fine too. But I want you to get good at asking for your value. The next objection that I want to talk about is, well, what if they just flat out say that they're not willing? Okay, well, again, you don't have to work with everybody, but one objection handler, if they say they're unwilling to sign, would be to offer them a guarantee. And you could offer them a free cancellation guarantee. Well, listen, I require this commitment, or my team requires this commitment, or my broker. Sometimes you can, make it not about you and make it about who you work for. Hey, my broker requires this, but I'll tell you what I'll do for you. I'll offer you a free cancellation guarantee. If at any time you don't feel like I'm living up to what it is I said I was going to do for you, or I'm not the best choice for you, you can affect this cancellation guarantee and cancel at any time. Literally no risk to you. Now pause for a minute. The reason that strategy works, because you might be saying to yourself, well, wait, if you're giving them a free cancellation guarantee, what value does the buyer agency agreement have? Well, it has a lot of value, because when people sign the buyer agency agreement to work exclusively with you, they're less likely to just walk away and cheat on you. Now, they will have that cancellation guarantee, and they could actually notify you in writing and affect that cancellation guarantee. But what I found is that they typically don't. You know, the chances of them, when they walk into a new home construction and they ask if they're being represented, the chances of them saying, yes, they are represented if you have nothing in writing is very much slimmer or less than if you have something in writing, even if they have a cancellation guarantee. Now, the other thing you can offer is a VIP loyalty agreement. So this is like the cancellation guarantee, but it's more sticky because it has benefits tied to it. So it says, hey, if you allow me to represent you exclusively, I will do all the things I said I was going to do for you, and I will offer you these things of value. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to drop down my simple cancellation guarantee and also my VIP loyalty agreement so that you can see an example of what these look like, the same ones that I used in my business when I worked with buyers. In closing, I want to say this to you. If you're wondering, like, what's the best option for you, because I understand that there's some nerves and there's some fear associated, like, what if I require this, and what if I lose clients because I require this? You know, that's real money, that's real commission dollars that won't be coming through my household. Like, is it worth it? And this is really the question behind the question that people have is, if I do this, what am I potentially going to lose? And, you know, after doing this for over 20 years, it's my firm belief and my firm opinion that you're going to lose more clients by not having this in place than you will ever lose by requiring this to be signed with clients that you work with. Yes, there will be people that won't do it. Yes, you will decide not to work with some people, and some people will choose not to work with you. But the amount of time and savings that will go into not having to deal with those headaches and those difficult clients, and the amount of clients that will work with you and be loyal to you because you take them through this process is a winning proposition for you, and I believe all real estate agents. So with everything in me and all the heart and passion I can convey, if you want to be in this long term and you want to build a successful career and ultimately become a top producer, my recommendation is begin the practice of requiring people to sign a buyer agency in order to work with you, because if you don't value your time and your expertise, nobody else will. If you found this helpful, hit the like button, hit subscribe so that you get notified when I drop more content just like this. And if you want to talk to me about how could we partner together so that we could go deep on these strategies, these mindsets, and also implement done-for-you tools and systems in your business, feel free to click a free strategy session with me by using the link below, and you'll get on my calendar. Thanks so much, and I appreciate you watching.